Greetings and welcome back to Normal Guy Games. This time we are going to be doing the last, well, for now, the last Underworlds painting tutorial that I will be doing, because this is the last box that I own. So I'm going to be painting, and I'm going to try and pronounce this right, Ephilim's Pandaemonium. So with this set of models, they are really weird, and I'll be honest with you, a bunch of them look like walking alien buttholes. I mean, I really don't know how else to describe what these things look like. They're really weird and very alien-like, and I think they're kind of cool, actually. So let me show you the scheme that I chose for mine. So let's get into it. Starting off, I actually did an airbrush zenithal. I did black and then 3 shades of purple. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can actually do it with dry brushing. And I started out with using the white blue from Monument Hobbies, and that is going to be the skin tone. And I did that on all of the skin for this particular model. So that's the start. And I really don't like painting white, but I mean, it turned out pretty good, honestly. So then I took the Payne's Gray and I used that for all of the little white space there on the tabards and whatnot. So that was fairly simple enough. And then moving on, I did some highlights again on the skin, and I actually had to go back to the skin several times. I had to do like 5 or 6 thin coats. Now, I did initially hit the feather and a couple other things with the Payne's Gray, and as you can see the little pinwheel there, I used and on his staff I used a combination of the dark jade and the Payne's Gray to sort of blend things together. So I actually went back and I decided to do something a little bit different with the feather, but we'll get to that. Additionally, I took some of the purple paint that I was using, and that is again the Monument Hobbies purple that I from the set, and I went back and I put some blue white in it, and I did some highlights, and I made a couple of made a bunch of sort of horizontal scratch marks to try and give a little bit of texture to the robe, and honestly I think that turned out really well. So moving on to the strange little, I don't know, worm things or whatever that are coming off of this guy and floating around him, I used the yellow-green for that. I kind of felt like I needed to change it up and add a neutral color in there, and let me show you why I ended up using that green instead of a different color like a red or whatnot. So I used the color wheel, and you can see here that I'm pointing out that, you know, the green is opposite of that purple. That's why I decided to use that. So there is some thought that goes into my paint schemes. So I ended up, as you can see here, doing a green, that same yellow green on the feather, because I just didn't like the way that the Payne's Gray and the purple were looking. So to kind of break it up a little bit and make it look a little different, I just painted that green over top of those dark green, the darker greens and the blues that were in there already, and the purples. And it turned out looking pretty good, honestly. I think it was good enough to break things up. So on the feathers, on the worms, everything that's green, I went back and I added a little bit of that white blue to the green, and I used that to make it a little bit lighter. And I did some highlights on the raised areas and a couple of areas where the sun would hit, and also I made some markings on the feather as well, sort of like a stippling, almost like a stippling, but not really, just kind of like little lines. And this part here, we're going to glaze over that because I hate doing eyes, but I did end up doing the eyes on his face and on the staff, and it is very hard to catch, just so you know. I went back and I lightened up some of the blues and the jades and the purples that I used for the swirls and the staff, and I used that to blend up the colors to a lighter color on the very tops and the sun catching areas on the little magic swirl thing and his staff. And this particular step, I lightened up the paint quite a bit, trying to make it stand out a little bit more, because I felt like it was a little bit too dark on the staff and on the little magic piece there. So I used a lot more of that white blue to make the Payne's gray and to make the purple and the dark jade stand out a little bit more. So after doing those highlights and painting the orbs, and I did paint the orbs in that dark jade, I went back and I did the gold, which is Retributor armor. Now, you guys have seen me get the gold on my channel before. I'm not afraid to get it after the painting a bunch of Thousand Suns. So I painted up all the metallic pieces of the staff, the shoulder pads or whatnot, in that Retributor armor that really kind of a bright gold. Now for the base, I made a bunch of mixes of the Payne's gray and the white blue, and I sort of like painted that everywhere on the base, and then I did the same purple with lighter purples. Now this is what it looks like in the end. I did go back and I did put a black wash on his skin, and I really regret doing that. I started with the blue wash, didn't like it, brought it back up to white, went back with a black wash. I still don't like it, but it's a little better than the blue, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. But I used that same combination of techniques and colors to paint all of the Pandaemonium, as you can see here. So each of these, with the exception of the last one, which I used a lot of brown colors on him, but each of these guys is predominantly the Monument Hobbies Vinci V set. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and we will most definitely see you on the next video.